With the very real possibility that the crypto market might experience a crash immediately after the coming Bitcoin halving, well, this just simply might give us a really good opportunity to pick up some explosive altcoins for cheap prices, or at least cheaper than today's prices. So of course, guys, I am going to bring those to you today. Now, I know a lot of you like to hear about what coins I'm buying and what coins I'm eyeing off, and I think I'm pretty notorious for not buying an altcoin unless it hits my price target. So I'm going to share those price targets and those coins with you all today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now, of course, remember, if you do enjoy the content and importantly, you learn something new, drop a like on the video. It really helps me out, and subscribe so you can achieve your crypto goals. So I know some of you new to the market must be scrolling through right now, seeing Bitcoins at about $47,000, looking at the top 100, 200, maybe even some of you psychos top 3,000 coins, and just going, wow, there's so much to look at and buy. I'm just going to pick whatever, 10 influencers tell me is a good project and just hope for the best. But what you're fundamentally forgetting is the quality of an altcoin is only half the story. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to analyze from there, but of course, what comes next is what price you buy in at, right? People always forget. I see down below, Kyron, should I sell this coin and buy this coin instead, and what should I do? And I'm just like, what is your ROI expectations? How much do you want out of the market in terms of your multiples? And what can that coin give you from the current price? There's no point in me telling you, I think Algorand's a great project and you buy it now and you're looking for 100x. It's just not going to happen, okay? Now, I made this video over here. It was literally like 23 hours ago. And this video, I spoke about the possibility that the Bitcoin halving might have a retracement. Typically and historically, the data tells us that Bitcoin has a crash at the time or just after the halving, a few weeks or a month after, okay? And it's because of a whole economic problem with Bitcoin, but of course it goes up immediately after that. Now, I do believe, personally speaking, right, that it's not gonna happen this time around, but if it does, you gotta be prepared, right? You gotta be prepared for every situation in crypto. You can't be one of them people who just goes with the flow because you're the one behind the herd. You're the one that the herd is selling on, not the one that's supposed to be in front of it. So we are going to, of course, prepare for that today. Now, in that video, I touched on this particular chart over here. I'm not going to repeat myself again. I highly suggest you watch this video here, breaking down my thoughts. But either way, this information, this data right here has predicted things so far. And so who am I to say I don't think the Bitcoin halving is going to have a dip, when in reality, that's what the data is telling us. So to be prepared is something that I think most of us should do. Now, this was an interesting tweet I picked up over here in the research for this video. It was posted a while ago. This gentleman said, nobody knows what will happen. Thinking in absolutes will make you stubborn and unable to adapt to a shift in trend. This could mean not being able to get in, but also not being able to get out. Wise words indeed. And so, of course, that plays back into what I'm saying, right? Don't be someone who thinks for certain it's going to have a dip, or we will have a dip to get your final positions in. And also don't be someone thinking that it's not going to happen at all, okay? So first project here today is Pith. Now, guys, I've spoken about Pith a lot. And again, this is going to be a top 3 video in terms of the coins I am dedicated on getting. Now, interestingly enough, for some of these coins, I'm not in at all, okay? Like Pith, I'm not in at all. I'm waiting for a price of 37 cents at worst, and at best, well, closer to 0 would be great, but 31 cents, okay? Now, I was holding off for a while. I wanted to buy at 20 cents, and I was stubborn enough to not buy in at 22 cents. I reorganized my information and my analysis on Pith. Unfortunately, could even be too little too late here, and I think that 37 cents will be good enough for me to get in to achieve my 30x. And of course, lower to 30 cents would be ideal. And that's all built on what we'll talk about in a second here, the vesting schedule. There's about a 400 or 5x dilution ahead of us. And that might make you believe that Pith is a bad project, don't buy it at all. It's going to dilute 5x, which means there's going to have to be 5 times the amount of money put into the project for it to maintain the current price, which is a massive fallacy in crypto. Now, Pith, for those who don't know, is an oracle, right? It is a first-party oracle. It's one of the best in the space, if not arguably the best. All the Chainlink army is going to hate me for saying that right now. At least it's one of the fastest growing in the space, okay? these guys are connected to more blockchains and more frequent data feeds and updates than Chainlink. Their stats and all their charts are literally going like this, linear. It's growing so fast. And if you're someone who even pays remote attention to any of the Twitter updates, I mean, these guys are killing it, right? Not just in their updates. It's like every second day there seems to be an update with Pith, but their engagement. Their engagement is off the charts. And I want to show you just how off the charts here in a second. But this is their latest ecosystem snapshot. As you can see, they've got quite a large amount of publishers. Keep in mind, publishers are the guys aggregating the data and then sending it on chain. And there's about over 90 of these. And these guys are all large companies. A lot of these guys are actually people, pulling the data in for themselves. Okay, so these are very, very big names, respectable and reliable names, mind you. We also have over 50 blockchains, and again, like over 400 price feeds. And the thing with price feeds and Chainlink, for example, is, they might have more, data points than Pith over here, but they're not all updated for all of their connected blockchains like Pith is. So a lot of different networks built on it. And actually recently, I'm going to give the shout out here to Julian, one of the moderators in the private community, put up a great airdrop guide for Pith stakers to get in on a new project, by the way. So if you do want to have all the sort of alpha relating to airdrops, level 2 in the private community link down below is where you want to be. Shout out to Julian for the call out on that one there. Now, this is a really big unlock, right? So the way cryptocurrencies and projects grow is purely, at least in this bull run, is going to be by attracting the degens, attracting the dumb money and making their project as beautiful and as simple to understand for these people, okay? There's no point in it being a complicated project for a specific use case that's above everyone's head, because while it might actually be a quality project, it's not going to attract the money. And of course, you and I are in this market to make money. And so that's where the degens come in. Now, these guys have 1.2 million daily interactions from all different social platforms, which is insane. And why is it insane, you might be asking to me? Well, guys, the market cap is $700 million, okay? And to put some weight on that, I recently made a video here for HBAR. HBAR has 1 million average daily interactions, and I compared that to ADA.NAVAX, which individually have a lot more market cap, and HBAR at 1 million interactions should have had at least a market cap of about $8 billion, 7 to 8 billion. So it was about 4x undervalued, at least in accordance to interactions, which again, isn't just some silly metric. It actually weighs up in this case, right? And Pith, well, it's very much undervalued because it's got more interactions than HBAR, and yet the price is, the market cap rather, is almost 3x lower than HBAR. Okay, so big difference we're talking here. So in reality, Pith could very well be valued in reality at about a 9 billion market cap. Now, I know some of you are thinking to yourselves, Kyron, you're using interactions to gauge the quality of a project. Not entirely. I'm comparing this to everything about Pith and then saying to you just how popular the project really is. And it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before the market catches on. Now, going back to the last point here at the vesting schedule, some of you guys are again thinking to yourselves, right? Oh my God, look at this. We're down here right now, 1.5 billion tokens in supply. Up here is about, late 2025 when we can expect the end of the bull run, at least based on the data. And it's a massive dilution, 400%. Well, we've disproven this, right? A lot of these projects have their price already priced in for all this dilution, because most of the dilution, especially for Pith, is going to things like ecosystem growth, protocol development, which aren't going to be things sold off for a net negative purpose, right? They're going to be things sold off to increase the network's benefit and aren't going to be sold off from their new custodians. Likewise with the publisher rewards as well. These publishers aren't just selling their tokens. These are 90 hand-picked, extremely reputable exchanges or companies. So, a lot of this is just coming through really small slither through the private sales, and price isn't impacted, of course, until it happens on the exchange, until people actually sell. So Pith definitely takes one of the slots on this video because, I mean, how many oracles out there are competing with Chainlink? None, but then there's Pith. So quality project definitely makes the list. Next up, we have Mina Protocol. Now, I've made many videos on Mina Protocol, and I'm kind of waiting at best, or worse should I say, really, a 16% dip from the current price. I think it's possible. Now, it's really been fighting off the $1 mark. It has been for the longest time, And I've noticed ever since it's pretty much pumped, it really hasn't fallen lower and sustained that, right? It's pretty much wicked down and wicked back up again. So I would really like to get $1, and I do see people likely getting a probably 20, maybe best of case 25x. Again, I could be completely off here. You might even bloody 75x from a $1 mark, right? Because Mina has some pretty good tokenomics, and at least I strongly do believe, and I think that it's a very nice project to be able to gauge, pretty much how high it can really go based on a $1 price, okay? So, $25, $30 wouldn't be out of the picture at all, but I think more conservatively, you'd probably, to be safe, at forecasting 2 years out, which mind you is a pretty stupid thing to do anyway, we're looking at about a 15x, I strongly do believe. So I average at about 36 cents, which is way down here. Where are we? Down about here. Oh, you can't quite see it anyway. The paintbrush isn't working, but down here I pretty much bought in quite luckily. So almost timed the bottom exactly. And so, me buying at $1 actually wouldn't be too bad. I'd be averaging in probably around about 60 cents or so. And if I can get underneath $1, that is Christmas, right? That's Christmas come early or Christmas late, whatever you want to kind of say in this case. Either way, Mina, I think, can fall between these ranges if we're lucky. Of course, if this, Bitcoin crash happens, and you can damn well bet I'm buying. I'm not going to be waiting any much longer if it hits $1. Now, Mina is a great project because it's a layer 1 zero knowledge proof powered project, right? The blockchain itself, we know how big and bloated these blockchains can become because all that data, those transactions, have to be stored on chain. Some of these networks, what they do is they prune, right? So they say, hey, we're going to get to a certain size, certain amount of blocks, and then everything that's after that, it's going to fall off. And you can pay to keep your transaction in the loop on chain. But if you don't want to, if it's a one-off transaction, it can just plop off the network, right? You have to have some nodes storing that, archival nodes, for example. But what Mina says is, you know what, screw that. We're going to have the whole blockchain 22 kilobytes in size. That's the size of a tweet, or at least an old tweet, right? One of the 240 character tweets. So very, very small. It focuses on modularity as well because part of its structure, it has to be modular, very small blockchain, push all these executions, all these fast transactions off chain, sometimes even storage off chain. But yet you can even argue it's actually going to hit an oracle as well because through ZKPs, it's proposed a way in which you can pull data from any website on the internet without them having to know about it and bringing it on chain. That, if that comes out in the next 2 years, is going to be massive for Mina. Mina's just stacked, right? Privacy, of course, comes with the side effects, if you will, of ZKPs. And of course, it's a Web3 layer 1 project. Now, Mina has absolutely stacked roadmap. And this is one of the main bullish features that I kind of hold Mina to, and also Mina Protocol to some degree as well, because these guys, if we zoom in right here, we're looking for things that are basically going to appeal again to the degen, right? You don't want to be someone that moseys through all of this and think to yourself, well, price isn't going up right now, or at least it's not in comparison to the general market, right? It's pretty well average. So I'm not going to buy based on these events coming in the next 12 to 24 months. But the people that do buy now, respectively lower prices, when Mina goes to $3, $4, $5, and then all of a sudden has a spike to $10, they're going to be the ones taking profit. You're going to be the ones barely scraping through, okay? And you have to look towards the roadmap here. ZK apps is going to be huge. This will, of course, allow for people to build applications upon the network, which is, of course, a big upgrade for any network. Running Mina in Mina is going to be big, as well as compiling any code to Mina. However, that's not going to really bring those degens in like we want. But what will be instant finality and infinitely horizontal scalability. These are massive upgrades. Now, I'm not too sure if this will happen, before 2025, but I think that this likely will. Now, keep in mind, Mina somewhat recently launched on an exchange, okay? It was at about, 36 cents, and it jumped way up to $1. It 3x'd pretty well in a day or two. Alrighty, so it has that explosive potential. Don't sleep on Mina Protocol, okay? Now we have Project 3 here, but I also have a bonus coin as well at the end of the video. And trust me, it's an interesting one. It's a lot smaller project than all of these three. So for anyone who likes a micro cap play, well, it might be your chance. Now, of course, guys, come on now. If you're asking me, right, you're watching this video going to yourself, well, at least the preface of the video was, what 3 coins am I looking to buy, right? And I don't think it's a shock to anyone to find HBAR in this. Now, I was debating whether putting HBAR in this, or I'm looking at Aster Network, or I'm even, of course, looking at Manta Network. These are 3 projects, but I stand by HBAR so much. I own about 500,000 HBAR tokens. I'm even tempted to buy more. Because I believe in it so much, and I'm like, it's going to multiply. Now, of course, I'm diversified enough, at least I firmly do believe, but I'm looking for about a 10% drop here from the current price for HBAR. Well, actually, it's slightly gone up a little bit here, about 12% to start looking to DCA a little bit more. But to be honest with you guys, I personally will be looking more so towards down at the 6-cent level to begin buying more. Now, will that be possible? I'm not too sure. But look, here's the thing, right? I own enough HBAR to be pretty comfortable with my position. I merely wanted to point this out for those of you who weren't already in, because it wouldn't surprise me if HBAR hit $1.60 this bull run. So for most of you, I mean, that's some pretty good multiples. Again, we can very quickly check this. And I always suggest you guys check this sort of thing. Like, don't trust any one influencer. I don't care if it's me or if it's Jesus incarnate. I don't care who it is, right? You want to double check these things. So that's about a 23x, right? From that price, from that beginning DCA level of about 68 cents. So that's pretty impressive, but just keep in mind, again, that's the ceiling here. We don't want to really push it. And ideally, as I mentioned when I spoke about Pith, you kind of want to revisit this. You don't really want to rely on a single forecast 2 years out, okay? So I don't think I have to really justify the purpose here for HBAR on this list. I mean, the governing council is right now about 30 members of top institutions, multinational corporations, top universities, and Lehman Bard, the founder and co-creator of the Hashgraph, actually had a recent interview with AJ Wright, an ex-employee of BitBoy, and he said that one of the best aspects of Hedera is the governing council. People just are crypto degens. They don't think about that, right? They don't trust them, but what they do is they trust the decentralized existing governance systems, which relies on 12-year-olds that got lucky, last cycle, or 17-year-old kids that don't know any better. Like, even grown adults don't know how to, propose governance and all that sort of thing. So I do think that over time, as Lehman mentioned, that this will become a sort of staple in not just the industry, I don't think, but the enterprise projects, of course. But this will become one of the reasons why people trust Hedera, because you're not trusting any one of these individual, let's just call them entities. You're trusting that they all kind of want to make sure that the network grows together because of that reputational damage, okay? Of course, they do have all their meeting minutes published publicly as well. People seem to forget the fact that they have everything, on the website. They're completely transparent. And it's just a bit of a shame that a lot of these companies, I think Charles Hoskinson, I remember that Charles actually mentioned that it was a few years ago when Hedera had their patent on the network, right, on the hash graph. And he said it's a bad thing, every crypto should be completely open source to begin with. But I'm surprised to hear that from Charles, because he should know better. The fact that a project so unique as Hedera with the hash graph, they didn't want people stealing it. They didn't want Google, Amazon, these big companies taking their tech that they worked, Lehman and Mance, right, the founders, the co-creators of the hash graph, worked years of their lives on. And not just the years, it's also what they learned previously to bring it to life, and they obviously, something like Google could have brought this to life instantly, have it instantly scalable, all that sort of thing, okay? So now it's open sourced, and now, of course, we have people like Charles giving them praise. So I think we're going to find that this does come in a mass market sense soon. They also recently entered a 5-year agreement valued at $250 million with the Saudi Ministry of Investment, or MISA, which is absolutely massive. What does this bring along? Well, the statement highlighted that Deep Tech Venture Studio will be specifically designed to empower local Saudi companies as well as international companies interested in operating in the kingdom. They're focusing on things like AI, blockchain, robotics, Internet of Things, VR, all that sort of stuff, okay? So this was obviously in collaboration between these guys and the Hashgraph, Switzerland's Hashgraph at least, and they created what's called the Deep Tech Venture Studio. So, all those sort of Arab countries, they're getting more involved in crypto because they're very forward-thinking, I've noticed. Very, very forward-thinking countries, which is fantastic. Now, our last project today is, of course, the Bonus, and that is a project in the gaming space. However, not strictly crypto gaming, right? They are focused on the mobile sector of the gaming market, which is arguably even more addicting and more profitable than the traditional gaming market, at least in current crypto state. And the project's called My Lovely Planet. Now, you guys might have remembered these guys. They actually partnered with me a few months ago, and they have yet again for this video. And I want to say, I'm not just partnering with any old crypto project or crypto game. I got a lot of DMs every single day. But these guys spoke to me because, at least one of the many things, their team is absolutely stacked. Now, their team has had, 15 years of experience at Unity, for example. They've also worked at places like Ubisoft, and they've also been in one of the incubation rounds with Ubisoft themselves. And I believe 3 or 4 of these team members were actually part of the reason why Candy Crush is so addictive, right? They came from Candy Crush. Now, when you're talking about, obviously, an addictive game, I mean, my parents still bloody play Candy Crush to this day. So it's all about gamification. It's all about addictive nature. But here's the thing. This is where My Lovely Planet really breaks apart, and why I believe it aligns with my personal values is because these guys are focused on making the environment green. That's the entire purpose of the game or games on the actual, App Store itself. So essentially what you do is, right, when you're in the game, you go through different games, and what you ultimately end up doing is planting trees, right? That's the whole objective of the game or games. And every time you plant a tree in the game, they actually go and pay people to plant trees in real life. So when you're talking about actual impact and, making a change, well, apparently crypto is supposed to be this blood-sucking, energy, inefficient sort of software and hardware. Well, these guys are looking to actually make a change, right? Which is really good to see. Now, there are, of course, an additional benefits. First of all, the target market. We all know how big Web3 gaming is. And like I said, about 60 to 65% of that is mobile games, or at least the general gaming market. So this is a very big area, and everything is play to earn, right? Which is why they need this token. As I mentioned down here, it's energy green. MLC, which is their token, is built on the Polygon network. So of course it is energy efficient. And importantly, it is actually free to play. Now, as you can see here, their goal is to plant 1 billion trees, 1 million tons of plastic saved from the environment, and 40,000 endangered species they're planning to protect biodiversity. So no matter what happens, if you're someone who's aligned with this most definitely is an interesting protocol. Now, again, they are 2 days and 7 hours away from increasing the price of the current round. It's about 14% down from what they are going to list at on a centralized exchange, at least from what I've seen on the roadmap down here. If we kind of pull back down, they're looking to list on a top SEX and Launchpad in about Q1 of course, this year. So what I'm going to do is take you guys through the buy now process and what it sort of takes to participate. The first thing you'll have to do is create an account. It's easy. You just put your name, email address in, and of course, put the referral link down below, NOBSCRYPTO. Then what you want to do is, of course, confirm you are buying it for the price you think you're buying it at, and click Buy MLC. Now we're just going to have to run through the steps. Of course, make sure you click the right country. Are you 18? Yes. General terms of the sell, make sure you read those. And I understand I'll have to verify my identity with a KYC to receive my lovely coins. So you will have to do KYC. Do not skip forward for this, and only to realize that you can't KYC or participate in your country. Choose payment method. Now, of course, you can choose a few different ones. You can even pay with your card, and I'd probably say BNB would be the best, but USDT, I believe you can still pay with this through Matic in BNB, okay? So I'm going to paste in my address here. Then I'm going to put in my amount. So let's put in 1,000 USDT, and you can choose your vesting term. So up to 2 years, right down to 1 year. I'm probably going to say 1 year is good for me since, of course, well, I think the bull run might be ramping up by about then, and click buy now. So it's going to give you an address you have to send, of course, your tokens to, all right? So payment amount, 1,000 USDT, got the equivalent over there in euros. And what we're going to do is now process that via MetaMask directly. So now that that's sent, you want to click into your activity over here on MetaMask where you went and sent that. Click it and then click copy transaction ID. And then I confirm I did the transfer, and then paste that in there. I confirm transaction hash. So we've pretty much copied the transaction hash in to prove to them once I did, of course, a manual verification, then I did in fact send the tokens. Everything coincides. It's going to say to comply with regulation, a participant will have to go through identity verification. So click view transaction, and it's got it all, and verify my identity. Once you verify your identity, I'll go ahead and do that now. You're all set, all sweet. It might take a little while to confirm, but you are all done. And if you're asking yourself, how do I know when the token is going to launch? Like, how do I keep my finger on the pulse? Well, of course, follow them on Twitter. All links will, of course, be via the website. As you can see at the top over here, and they have about 25,000 followers over there. Give them a follow. Turn your bell notification on to make sure that you are up to date when things go out. they generalized it to be Q1 of 2024, so no one really knows. With that being said, everyone, thanks so much for watching today's video. And again, as always, let me know down below what you think about these projects and what your personal entry levels are. Thank you again. Talk to you soon. Take care.